Hi guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So we are here for another one of our mass making sessions. These Tuesdays come around so quickly, don't they? So we are here for week 112. Wow, week 112. That's massive, isn't it? So we are going to make today these envelope little booklet pieces for your junk journals. So we are obviously doing the reruns. So this is kind of like a rerun of week 12, so week 112, rerun of week 12. And if you're wanting to join in, what you're going to need is a bunch of envelopes. Now you can do all the same size envelopes, you can do, you know, a variety, however you like. So you're going to need your envelopes. You're going to need some, I like to use either coffee dyed paper or maybe like the food coloured paper. You can use plain paper, you can use, you know, insides of like a notebook, whatever you like. Basically some journaling pages to put inside your envelope. And then you can have some string or maybe some twine or something like that to kind of hold your piece closed. Again, you can, you know, use whatever you fancy, but just something to kind of tie it closed, basically. Then you're going to need a stapler. Now, again, you can get away with your Tim Holtz tiny stapler, especially if you're using quite tiny envelopes. However, if you're using kind of larger envelopes, which I've got a whole variety of sizes here, these ones, for instance, because what you're going to do is you're going to be stapling in your pages like a book. So obviously, you know, the bigger stapler that you have, the better, you know, or one of those long arm staplers maybe would be even better. You're going to need some scissors and you may need some glue just for if you're going to decorate the outside or possibly, you know, to stick your string on. I think that's pretty much it. But yeah, I may have missed something. I hope I haven't. So let's get started and just kind of move on and yeah, get the first one going. So I'll start the first one with kind of a larger envelope. So I'll just move these ones out the way. And then all we're going to do is we're going to just put some pages inside the envelope. So we're creating like a little booklet from the envelope itself. So I'm just going to take this, which is coffee dyed A4 book page, like that. And then I'm just going to cut it kind of roughly in half. Again, you know, it doesn't need to be exact, it doesn't matter, you know, it's quite interesting if you have kind of odd sized pages, but just, you know, roughly, just roughly somewhere kind of in half-ish. And then all you're going to do is kind of pop them in to your envelope. So basically you're making like a little booklet, and then all you're going to do is go in. Now, if you can't reach like this, what I like to do is I just kind of fold it over. I'm not creasing it, obviously. I'm just kind of folding it just so that I can get my stapler to the middle. And then I just staple there. Now, of course, you could stitch these in, you know, making like a proper sort of signature. Or you could obviously take this through to your sewing machine and you could just stitch it with your sewing machine. I mean, I use my stapler because it's just quick and easy. So, you know, I think the staples are fine. You just see them obviously here. You can't really see them from the outside. So, you know, however you fancy doing it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your string. So I'm just going to take some, you know, some regular string. And I just buy mine from, we have a shop here called The Range, which is that shop that we actually went shopping in together. And I just buy it, it's with the, like the postage, you know, the posting type materials. So, you know, like all the kind of jiffy envelope things and all of that kind of stuff. So it's proper like postal string. Don't know whether that's a thing, but you know what I mean. And you can just tie that round there. Now, really, it's up to you. When we did this last time, we did glue all the strings down. To be honest, it's up to you, really. You could just leave the string loose so that if when you come to decorate this, you decorated it, say, like, I don't know, with pink or, you know, a colour, you could interchange your string for like some baker's twine in a matching colour or something like that. I'm going to just go for you know, gluing my string down anyway. But yeah, I mean, I kind of thought if you wanted to have it matching, now would be the time to just, you know, tie your string round but not glue it, and then you've got it there ready, you know, if you want it, but you're not committed if you didn't want it, if you see what I mean. And that's it. And that's just our little booklet. So I'll just show you another one. I mean, obviously, you know, being my channel, these are not rocket science. I don't do anything complicated, as you know. I like everything just nice and straightforward. So, I mean, really kind of, if you're doing, these are A5 envelopes. They're those ones that you get for card making. I like to buy those card making packs, and, you know, I just find them a really nice size to use in journals and things. And then if you're, you know, if you're using that kind of size, I find then it works perfectly with an A4 sheet, which over here, that's just our standard copy paper size. Fold it in half down the lengthways and then cut it, you know, approximately somewhere in the middle to get your pages like that. And they just work perfectly together. So, I mean, really, for your entire piece, all you're actually needing is like one sheet. You get two pages then, and an envelope. So, you know, they're pretty good, aren't they? And, you know, nice and straightforward. And then again, just staple down in your, you know, your fold of your envelope, which is effectively your spine. That's it. You've got that kind of done like that. So again, just going to tie my string round. I mean, I will probably glue my string down on all of these, to be honest. But I did kind of think, well, actually, that's quite a nice option to have if you just tied your string round so you've got it there ready and you don't have to go hunting for it. But if you didn't want to glue it down so you've got options for if you wanted to change it out for something, you know, to match your pieces, then, you know, that's quite a good idea, isn't it? To just leave it unglued. So, I mean, personally, you know, I don't mind having the string. And to be honest, you know, if the worst came to the worst, you could always kind of peel this off. It's glued, you know, but I mean, it's not super glue or anything. So, I mean, you could always kind of peel it off and then, you know, replace it with something kind of really coordinating with your piece. So that's that. So could not be any quicker, quite frankly, could they? So we've done 2 already, which is amazing. So I'm just going to pull in obviously a different size envelope. So I've got these tiny ones here. Oops, it's just obviously got a bit sort of stuck together, you know, when I was doing the coffee dime. So for this one, for instance, obviously we can just take some other pages. So for this one, I might just put in these mauvey kind of colour. So again, kind of look and see how best to utilise your paper, because you want to get kind of obviously the most you can out of your paper, don't you? Especially if it's paper that you've gone to the trouble of kind of coffee dyeing or paper, you know, food colouring and what have you. You don't want to kind of waste it. So I'm going to just go like this and then cut it down here like that. You know, and I mean, again, we're not kind of making, you know, some kind of masterpiece. So, I mean, you really don't have to be too rigid in how you cut these, you know, like that. I mean, actually, in hindsight, I could have probably cut this into thirds and then had, you know, slightly smaller pages, but actually 3 bits to staple in. So perhaps I'll do that with the next one that we're going to do in this size. But for the moment, this is our piece, and then kind of lost my crease during the coffee dyeing process. So I'll just find that again. There we go. And then can just tuck my pages in there. So I've actually made these slightly big. So I'm just going to trim them down slightly. Weirdly enough, when I was folding it in, I'd gone in a bit smaller. And then I thought, oh, it can't be that small, because the envelope kind of looked like it was bigger than that, but it obviously wasn't. Should have gone with my first, well, not first instincts, but my first, you know, my first spot. But I obviously kind of thought, oh, it is that small. Yep, it was indeed that small. Right, let's just crease that down. Okay. And we will just then 1 and 2. There we go. Like that. Now, obviously, this one's got a much smaller envelope flap, but that's fine. You can still obviously get away with doing the string. So I'll just show you. Okay. Oops. Just then tie that round like that. Okay. Sorry about that. I just had to stop my thing, you know, because I had a message come through, and yeah, I wondered whether it was my, you know, shop thing, online shop, because I've done another shop today. So I just wanted to check that it wasn't anything to do with that, because if I just carried on filming, I'm filming on my old kind of broken phone. If I carried on filming, I'd forget, obviously, by the time that I'd done my video, and then I'd be sorry tomorrow when my shopping wasn't ready to click and collect. Well, I've already clicked, but ready to collect anyway. So yeah, so that's that one. And then obviously, because I've used kind of the mauvey coloured pages, I would obviously decorate the outside with some, you know, some nice kind of mauvey coloured bits and bobs. So yep, let's kind of do just the same again. So again, you know, we'll just kind of use up the pages that we've got here. So we want to be nice and frugal and using everything that we've got, if we can. So obviously, again, I can just cut this down. So I'm going to cut it down here. I wonder whether I could get, like, I mean, they're going to be weird sort of small pages, but that's okay. I don't really mind that. And then I can just take that in like that. And we can take them in quite a bit. I probably could have got another flippy pad out of that, to be honest. Again, it was kind of, yeah, poor judgment on my part. I should have thought a bit more carefully about that. But never mind, that's fine. So we can just pop that one in like that. Oops. Come on. Like that, and there. And then we'll just staple this in. Oh dear, gone off a bit skew-iff there. Sorry. So, I mean, obviously, if this type of thing happens to you, which, I mean, it happens to me all the time, you know, just take your staple out. And I thought I had one of those little staple removers actually somewhere. So, try and preserve my nails as best I can, but probably a bit late. I felt my nail kind of breaking, even as I was pulling it out. But, oh, here we go. Oh, I always forget that I've got these little staple remover things. And I mean, you know, they are quite good actually. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, I very rarely actually remember to use them and normally just end up pulling them. But just try and be a bit better. There we go. Okay, and then we fold that over there like that. Okay. So looking good. And then again, just going to take my string, tie around, oops, like that. Okay, got my string down. Oh dear. And again, just glue it, you know, glue it down here on the back. There we go. Okie dokie. So yeah, we've kind of, you know, managed to get like 2 little ones out of that one sheet of A4 paper, which is pretty good, isn't it? You know. Right, so I'll be quiet now really about the process because, I mean, obviously it is not very difficult at all. You know, and then we can just relax, have a nice catch up and, yeah, just kind of have a nice, you know, nice time together crafting. So I hope everyone's having a good week. As you know, if you watch my channel, I always really film these videos on a Monday, unless for some reason, you know, I kind of know in advance that I'm doing something else. So, yeah, I'm filming this on the Monday, ready for you guys on the Tuesday. So I hope you guys' week has started out okay. Hope that, you know, it's all good where you are. Oh, it's such a lovely day out there today. I mean, we seem to be having this lovely, you know, like, I guess like an Indian summer. And this happens so often, you know, once the kids go back to school, we suddenly get this other, like, second summer, really. So the summer holidays were not great weather-wise. I mean, I know I've moaned about it all the time, but yeah, they were not very good weather-wise, which was such a shame, of course. But yeah, I mean, the weather now is gorgeous. So yeah, it's very nice and sunny out there today. I'm back in my summer dresses again, which I had kind of a couple of weeks where I was kind of already in my, you know, my wintry clothes, not proper winter clothes. I mean, not like winter coat, but you know, wintry clothes. So yeah, I'm back in my summer dresses again today. So and I went for a little bike ride quickly after I did the school run this morning. It was pretty nice out there already. So yeah, hopefully we're in for a nice week. I haven't looked at the weather forecast or anything, so I have not a clue, but certainly today, if that's anything to go by, it's gorgeous out there. So, you know, perfect weather. Not too hot, not too cold, just kind of, you know, dress in a cardigan weather. Really, really nice. There we go. So yeah, when I filmed last week, I was saying that I was going to what we call over here, it's known as the Goodwood Revival. So for those people who didn't watch my video, I'll just kind of fill you in. Where I live in the south in England, and I live very close to a place called Goodwood. Now, again, I mean, I don't really know how well known this is around, but I know that people do come from all over the globe for this event. So yeah, you may have heard of it, you may not. I don't know whether it would depend whether you're into your vintage things or whether it depends whether you're into cars, you know, because it's predominantly kind of car racing. But that said, the revival, they have kind of two really big major events per year. One is called the Festival of Speed and one is called the Goodwood Revival. And the revival, to be fair, although I've said it's more about, you know, the racing, it's not really. Actually, it's more about the dressing up. So this is definitely one for kind of ladies to go to and really enjoy. And, you know, I mean, actually the whole family to go and enjoy, you know, all ages, all everybody can enjoy this, whether you like cars or not, because actually there's loads to do and, you know, loads of things to see. And pretty much everybody does get dressed up. Actually, I'm going to use that gorgeous green for this one. Pretty much everybody does get dressed up. So yeah, I went to that on Friday and I went with my sister and her friend. I did promise you guys that I was going to try and film. I did do some film. I haven't looked at any of it yet, so I don't know whether it will have come out very well. It was quite overcast when I was filming. And of course, then what happened? My battery went dead on my phone. So yeah, I don't know what the film has come out like. It was lots of little tiny bits. And again, I don't know what the sound quality would be like and things like that, because obviously it was busy there. There was car racing, you know. So I'm going to have a look and see what I've got, whether I can cobble a video together or not. I don't know. But if there's enough there and if there is, you know, reasonable quality, then of course I will, you know, put something up for you guys. But yeah, anyway, so I went on the Friday and oh my gosh, it was such a brilliant day. It was perfect weather. Literally, you know, could not have wished for better weather. It was, well, probably similar to today, less sunny, I would say. But having said that, it was one of those days where, you know, kind of the sun was out and then the sun would go in. So when the sun was out, you kind of think, oh my gosh, I'm going to be boiling. And then it would suddenly go back in and it was like, oh, I'm just right. So, I mean, it could not have been better weather, to be honest, for, you know, for the type of thing that we were doing. It was just perfect. And it was really, really good. So yeah, we had an awesome day and we went kind of straight from the school run really. And we were there all day. So, you know, my husband was picking my daughter up from school. And yeah, was going to bring her back kind of later so that I could stay out kind of, you know, later. So that was really, really, really awesome. So yeah, had just a brilliant day. And yeah, I think we got back at about 8:30. I mean, I know that doesn't sound all that late, but, you know, for me, that's quite late because I had been out all day, you know, since the school run kind of thing. So, I mean, that was a long old day. And, I mean, it was very tiring. And obviously, I was in my outfit. Now, my outfit was from Amazon. It was not vintage. But I did manage to buy a vintage handbag. I already had some vintage shoes. And I bought like a, I don't know whether you call it, I don't know, like a hat type thing. I bought it from a vintage shop, but the lady did say it's probably not that vintage, to be honest. I mean, I think it perhaps wasn't vintage at all, but hey, who knows? And I managed to get some like little gloves, you know, that came to here. Again, I bought them from Amazon. They did have them for the same price in the vintage shop, but they just didn't have any black ones left, which I needed black to go with my outfit. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was my outfit. I can't remember where I was going with that. Oh, my vintage shoes. Yeah. So of course I was wearing my vintage shoes. So although 8:30 doesn't really sound that late, trust me, my feet were really telling me, oh my goodness, you know, this is like 8:30. You've been out the whole day. Oh my gosh, my feet hurt so much. So obviously I did not dare take my shoes off, you know, even when we were kind of sat down, I didn't dare, because you know what it's like. If you take them off, you know, your feet kind of scream with relief, don't they? And then of course, the second you put them back on, your feet are like, what? I do not want these back on, you know. So of course I didn't dare take my shoes off for the whole day. Oh my goodness, were my feet hurting. When we got home, obviously I took my shoes off. I mean, these are vintage shoes and I've had them for a long time. I don't know what year they date from, but I've only worn them one time previously. And I think they are leather. They're not overly high, probably only about that high, you know, so kind of fine for me. Oh my gosh, they had so many blisters on my feet. They really were very sore. So yeah, not great. So Saturday, I was obviously pleased to not be walking anywhere at all. However, between last week and this week, I then discovered that my mum and dad and my aunt and uncle and my other aunt and her partner, they were all going to the revival on Sunday. So I spoke with my boys who I thought would love to go. Now, my daughter, she probably would have loved it, but because there is a lot of walking, you know, she's not very keen on walking, it's got to be said. She, of course, is not particularly keen or interested in cars, although, like I said, you know, that's kind of the, you know, that's neither here nor there really on that day out, because you see so much other stuff. But also she does tend to see her dad on a Sunday. So, you know, she obviously didn't want to come. So, yeah, I asked the boys and said, would they like to come, you know, on the Sunday, because I probably wouldn't have bothered otherwise. But yeah, they were both up for coming. So I was obviously searching on eBay, frantically looking for tickets. And I was so lucky. I managed to get, you know, tickets for all three of us. Now, as luck had it, I did not know this at the time, but under 21s, I think it's under 13s are actually free. Obviously, my boys are 15 and 18, so they didn't go in that category. But yeah, under 13s are free. So my daughter would have been free. But like I say, I mean, she obviously, you know, wasn't her type of thing. But the boys, there is what they call a young person's ticket. So it's for people aged between 13 and 21. And awesomely, I was able to get them both, you know, a young person's ticket. And I did not have to pay very much for their tickets. I paid, I think it was like £25. So, you know, that's pretty good, isn't it? And, you know, was very lucky because one of them was pretty local, so was able to collect that, which was even better. And then I obviously, you know, just had to buy my ticket. So, and again, I managed to get my ticket for a really good price. And, you know, luckily they were able to send it out with like the special, you know, next day delivery. So, yeah, it was all very last minute. And I mean, to the point, I say it's last minute. My youngest son, so, you know, my middle child, he thought that he was going to be doing something on Sunday and not coming with us. And then, you know, what kids are like and their plans fall through. And you know, I knew that they would fall through. You know, so I had this conversation and said, you know, I wish you'd say you'd come because, you know, I just kind of suspect that at the last minute your plans are going to fall through. And, you know, of course, they did fall through. But luckily, they fell through on the Friday. However, they fell through literally on the Friday morning as I was kind of like, you know, about to go and do the school run for my daughter. My son takes himself to school. So I was, you know, getting ready to go to Goodwood, you know, straight from the school run. And my son suddenly said, oh, you know, I'm not going out on Sunday now. I said, oh, I knew this would happen. You know, I just knew that this would happen. Now I feel terrible because, you know, me and your brother will be out, you know, and you're just going to have nothing to do. Oh, so there I was again on eBay again, looking for tickets. And as I say, I was very, very lucky because I managed to get one that was, you know, local to us. So we're able to collect the ticket. It was a really good price. And yeah, so that was fantastic. So picked it up on the Saturday and, you know, he was able to then come. The only thing was obviously he works on Saturdays in like a little restaurant. So he was working on the Saturday and of course everybody does dress up at this event. So I thought, well, he's going to just feel ridiculous if he's got no outfit. You know, he needs to have an outfit. And of course he was working all day Saturday. You know, it's not the type of thing that you can just buy without someone there. You need to kind of try things on, don't you? You know, and I obviously was not going to be there after school kind of thing to take him to like the vintage shops. There's only kind of about 3 vintage shops kind of local to us. But, you know, that was where my other son had got his outfit. So I thought, oh, what shall I do? You know, because he's not going to really have time to get his outfit. So very luckily, I said to my eldest son, you know, when you get home from work and your brother gets home from school today, you know, would you be able to just take him instantly kind of into town to those vintage shops and try and get him an outfit for Sunday? You know, because I just thought if he goes not dressed up, he will feel very, very self-conscious because, of course, you know, everybody would be dressed up. I mean, literally, there's probably like 5% of people who don't bother dressing up. The rest are all dressed up. So, you know, you'd feel a bit self-conscious if you weren't dressed up, to be honest. And plus, you know, that's half the fun of going. Why would you go to something like that and not dress up? Because, you know, it's not like in life you just generally get the opportunity to dress up, is it? So, yeah. Anyway, so I said to my eldest son, you know, when you get home from work and he's home from school, please take him straight away to the vintage shops and get him an outfit. I was so worried that, you know, my middle son would kind of just say, oh, no, I'm fine, you know, I'll just go in my normal clothes. Because you know what kids are like and they kind of sometimes think they know best, don't they? But luckily, you know, he got it. He realised that, you know, everybody would be dressed up. And of course, you know, and he wanted to have a good time. So, yeah, thankfully, it all worked out fine. And they went in and they managed to get like a nice outfit for him. He got like a tweed kind of jackety blazer thing and he got some chino-y type things. Actually, the chinos were just from TK Maxx. And then he got a cap as well and just a white shirt. So he looked awesome and it was really good. My eldest son, he'd come to the vintage shop like earlier on in the week, you know, when he obviously knew that he was coming. He came with me while I was looking for my vintage bag. And, oh, he was so lucky. He managed to get this military uniform. Now, I've no idea what era it was from. I would say, I don't know, 40s, 50s, something like that. I'm not sure. I don't know what uniform it was. Obviously, at the event, actually, tons and tons and tons of men were dressed in military wear, you know, military uniform, vintage military costume, you know, outfits. But, you know, authentic ones, not like fancy dress. Most of them had like navy blue on. Well, not really navy blue, actually, more like a kind of ocean type. Well, I don't know what colour I'd describe it. Like a sort of muted navy, let's call it. So most of them had that colour on. So I don't know what, you know, what year that would be, whether it might not even be pilots, they might be naval. I don't know what those costumes were or outfits were. But I have to say they all looked very, very handsome because all those kind of military or, you know, pilots, I mean, they look very handsome, don't they? So, yeah, they all looked very, very handsome. But my son's one, he was really lucky because his was really unusual in that it was a beige, a light beige colour. As I say, I've no idea what, you know, what even costume it was, you know, what outfit it was. Obviously, it is genuine vintage one, but yeah, no idea. I mean, it looked like it could have been from the US. I don't know. So I don't want to kind of show my ignorance by quoting that it was something when it was possibly something completely different. But he looked fantastic, and it was just like it was, you know, it was meant for him. It fitted like a glove, and yeah, I mean, could not have been more perfect. So it was really, really, really great. So yeah, and we all had a really good time. So yesterday, I have to say, when we went, the weather wasn't as good as Friday, which was a bit of a shame, because actually a few times it was really chucking it down with rain, which, you know, that in itself was okay, because obviously we just kind of sheltered, you know, whilst it was really pouring. But what obviously was a bit of a shame then was because obviously the ground was very wet. So whereas on Friday we could just kind of, you know, throw our picnic rug down and kind of sit down as and when. Wasn't quite so much like that yesterday, because of course everywhere was soaking and soggy, you know, even kind of sitting on the tables, in the little sort of eatery bits, of course everywhere was soaked. So I mean, the chairs were all drenched and things as you pulled them out, and you know, it was, yeah, it was a bit of a shame, to be honest. But hey, I mean, it didn't, you know, didn't spoil our day out or anything. We still had a really, really, really nice time. So yeah, it was really good. So like I say, I will have a look at the film when I get time. It might not be this week at all, because of course now I've had 2 days kind of just being out of the house all day. So yeah, I've got some catching up to do. But I will have a look and see whether I've got some film, because I think you guys would like to see some of the stuff. I did film some of the vintage cars, which were beautiful, I have to say. I mean, they were a whole, again, variety of eras, and yeah, I mean, I don't know what, you know, what eras they would have been from if they didn't have the dates on. Obviously I didn't know, so you know, many of them did have dates on, many of them didn't. But there were quite a lot of, like, say, 1950s. I feel like I maybe saw one from the 30s, but I might be making that up. I can't remember, to be honest. Everything's kind of merged in, you know, because obviously there were hundreds of cars. So yeah, I wouldn't like to say. But, and again, I tried to film obviously people's outfits a little bit to show you guys and things. So, you know, people looked really amazing. And yeah, I mean, you know, just to sit down, have a coffee and kind of sit down and just watch everyone go by, and kind of, you know, spent the whole day just saying, oh, I love her outfit. Oh, I love her outfit. Oh my gosh, don't they look great? Because a lot of people had obviously gone with their husbands or partners, and, you know, they would both be dressed up and they would look such absolutely handsome couples, you know, like really glamorous couples, and, you know, really lovely looking. I mean, I saw a few people there, like families, you know, just young sort of small families, like, say, you know, husband and wife with just their baby. And, you know, I saw one in particular really sticking in my mind. He was in his kind of military kind of pilot type outfit. She was in an absolutely gorgeous kind of 1940s-ish type outfit. And then they had a vintage pram and a vintage baby. No, I mean, their baby wasn't vintage necessarily, but I'm sure their baby wasn't vintage. But their baby looked vintage because it was in the vintage pram. I mean, how cool is that? So I don't know whether they bought the pram for the occasion. I mean, often at things like this, you know, when you say you're going, it's actually surprising how many people still have prams and things like that from when their kids were small. So I'm assuming it was something like, you know, perhaps someone said, oh, I've got a vintage pram you can borrow. Right, I might call it quits there with the making of these, because I've actually made tons while I've been rambling on. And obviously I had stopped the camera earlier, so I've got no clue how long I've been filming for. So let's just have a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13's pretty good, isn't it? And we'll just decorate. We might have time to decorate a couple, but as I say, I've lost track, I'm afraid, of how long I've been filming for. Oh, let's just go for one of these. Perhaps we'll go for this blue. Yeah, the one with the blue. And I'm wondering if I've got the snippet roll that we made, you know, with the freebie that I put up in the Facebook group. Let me just see if I've got that handy, because that may just be quite nice on here. So let me just have a quick look. Oh, and of course now I can't see it. Oh, come on. No, I can't see that anywhere. That's very annoying because it would have been, I think, really, really good on here. Oh, here it is. I knew it was in here somewhere. Right. Yeah, so they looked absolutely great with their, not vintage baby, but their baby, in the vintage pram. So, yeah, they looked very, very cool. And, you know, it was really nice because obviously the chap was pushing the pushchair, or, you know, the vintage pram. Oh, it was just really cute to see. And I thought, oh, how lovely. You know, that whole family. I mean, obviously the baby didn't really get a say in it, but, you know, the husband and wife, they'd kind of dressed up together. Oh, yeah, just lovely. Absolutely lovely. And, you know, there were lots of kind of older couples. I mean, there was one couple in particular, and I said to them, oh, you just look so gorgeous. You know, the pair of them, they looked so great. They were possibly in their 80s, I would have said. But again, he had a kind of military outfit. I mean, his might have been even his outfit from the day. Who knows? But, yeah, and she had again, I would say 1940s-ish. I mean, that seemed to be the outfits that I was most drawn to, seemed to be like the 40s, really. But having said that, I loved them all. So, yeah, kind of, I can't really say that definitively. But she had a dress on anyway, a florally kind of dress. And she had a beautiful, you know, leather kind of vintage handbag. And then she had a gorgeous, like, fur. I mean, I'm presuming hers was probably real fur. I wore a little fur thing, but mine was obviously fake. But hers might have been real, you know, authentic, maybe. I mean, again, maybe it was hers from back in the day. But, oh, they looked so gorgeous. And they were just kind of, you know, walking very, very elegantly. And, oh, they looked so lovely. I said to them, you know, oh, you look such a lovely, you know, lovely couple. You just look gorgeous together. You know, and I just thought, oh, that's so nice, isn't it? You know, to kind of reach that age and, you know, that you're still having that lovely day out and, oh, just, yeah, really, really nice to see. So, yeah, that was kind of lovely. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't kind of like, oh, you know, the young people look really great or, you know, the men look really great or the women look really great. Everybody looked really great. And, you know, most people, like I say, had made an effort, which, I mean, that's just brilliant, isn't it? You know, because, I mean, you don't very often get to do things like that, do you? Okay, right. So, this is that snippet roll. Now, I have already used some of this for something that I've been making kind of, you know, I can't remember whether I've been making it on camera, you know, that's obviously not gone up yet or not, to be honest. But, and I can't actually remember what it is that I have been making. But, yeah, I've used quite a bit of this snippet roll now. So, this is just some that I happen to have left, but kind of wondering whether we could just team it with some of this blue paper. So I'll just ink this up. Yeah, anyway, so absolutely brilliant, brilliant, brilliant time. And I bumped into my friend there. So that was really, really lovely. So yeah, it was just really nice. Oh, I must tell you this such funny story. So obviously the day, tons and tons of walking. My feet were really, really, really painful on the Friday, you know. So were my sisters and so was her friends. Now, obviously, you know, they weren't going kind of again. So, you know, perhaps wasn't quite such an issue. But my feet were really, really hurting. And so when we were going yesterday, you know, I hadn't obviously worn my vintage shoes like, you know, on Saturday. So I got them out yesterday and I thought, now my feet are going to go one of two ways. They're either going to kind of go, oh, it's these shoes again, you know, and be fine. Or they're going to kind of scream, oh my gosh, it's these shoes again. And I'm not wearing these, you know. Well, of course it was the latter. So, of course, my feet did not want to be wearing those shoes again. You know, they had had quite enough on Friday. So there was no way I was going to be able to wear those shoes. So, again, had a quick emergency, like, look through the wardrobe yesterday whilst getting dressed and, you know, pulling out various different shoes and sandals and what have you and thinking, oh, what else can I wear instead? So I had a pair of sandals, of course, not vintage, you know, but I thought, well, they'll do, you know, I can kind of get away with those. So pulled those out and, sorry, I'm just quickly having a look to see if I've got some more of the paper that goes with this. I'm not sure now. Yeah, so pulled out some sandals that I thought, well, they'll do. And I did have some plimsolls. I tried on the plimsolls because I'd seen quite a few people wearing plimsolls there. And I thought, well, that's a really clever idea, isn't it? You know, wear plimsolls. Because, of course, you know, that look did go, didn't it? In the 50s especially. People did often wear those white kind of pumps, you know. And they look really great. So I thought, well, I could always kind of maybe get away with wearing some plimsolls, you know. So I tried my plimsolls on. I just got some white plimsolls, you know, that I happen to have. Well, of course, my blisters were still kind of rubbing inside the plimsolls, if you see what I mean. Where the plimsolls were, happened to just be where the blisters were, if that makes sense. So they were kind of a no-go. And I thought, now what? You know, now what am I going to wear? So I managed to get some sandals, you know, out of the wardrobe that I'd kind of were buried at the back, you know. And I thought, oh, I'll just wear these sandals. Well, luckily, those sandals were very comfy. And, you know, I thought, oh, that's fine. Oh, my goodness. So we're walking around, you know, and there's like this bit, like an underpass type thing that you have to go under. Now, basically, it's going under the racetrack. So you can generally drive under there. But, I mean, of course, obviously, for this day, it's all pedestrian access, you know. So, of course, you just walk under there. So there was like a kind of one-way system. So you went on the left, and then when you come back, you went on the left the other side. So, anyway... walking through there, you know, to go back over across the other side, suddenly, you know, when you feel like something go on your shoe, or, you know, if you've got a handbag and suddenly you think, oops, my handbag's broken, or, you know. So I suddenly thought, oops, my shoe's broken. Would you believe the whole front of my shoe just kind of came unglued from the sole. So my whole shoe just kind of pinged open. And I thought, oh no, you know, it was just kind of then held on because they had like an ankle strap. And so, of course, it was just then like held on with the ankle strap. So my shoe was just like flapping around on my foot. So, of course, you know, it wasn't like I could literally walk in it at all because there was no shoe there. The shoe was just kind of clinging on around my ankle. There was no shoe at the front of the shoe, if that makes sense, at all. It was just gone completely. I couldn't believe it. So I said to my sons, you know, so we're literally about to go into this underpassy bit. I'm just kind of inking this off to get some of the colour off from where I've used it previously. Otherwise, it's kind of a bit yellow tinged and I want to have it blue. So I said to my sons, oh my gosh, my shoe's just broken. You know, I can't walk. I can't continue walking. So that was it. Now, there happened to be like a little sort of brick wall, like with a sort of grass verge, like to the side of this kind of underpass. So I just said, oh, I'll have to just sit here for a minute, you know, while I kind of think, oh, what did I do? What did I do? Now, luckily, this was such a stroke of luck I couldn't believe. Because my feet had been so painful on the Friday, when I got dressed on, you know, yesterday morning, I had packed my plimsolls and took them with me in the car because I thought, oh, now if these sandals are really, really bad as well, I may need to, you know, put my plimsolls on. So even though my plimsolls were then rubbing where the blisters were, obviously I took some plasters with me in my handbag. Well, of course, my plimsolls were in the car, which was fantastic. I mean, how lucky was that? But of course, you know, the car was a fair way because you had to walk quite a bit to even get to the kind of venue. You know, it was very, very busy and massive, massive car park, you know. And of course, I now was stuck with no usable shoe. So I had to say to my son, I mean, as it happens, he'd already said, you know, oh, let's go over the other side and I'm going to drop all our picnic rug and stuff back to the car. So, you know, technically he was kind of planning on going back to the car anyway. So I said to him, oh my gosh, you're just going to have to kind of escalate that to now go straight back to the car so you can bring my plimsolls if that's okay. So he did. Oh my gosh, I felt so embarrassed because everybody who was going through the underpass bit were just staring at me, just sat there with my shoe off. So my middle son stayed with me, which was very nice of him because otherwise I would have felt really, really ridiculous and just awful because all these people were just staring at me and it was like, oh my gosh, you know, this is not that big a deal. I'm just sat here because my shoe has broken. So, of course, I took the other shoe off as well to make it look like I was just perhaps sat there resting my feet. So, I mean, in fairness, people were probably thinking, oh, gosh, what's wrong with this woman? Why she just sat here? But on the entrance to the underpass, you know, couldn't she find somewhere better to sit just to rest her feet? I mean, that was probably what they were thinking. And, of course, it was going to take about 20 minutes for my son to go back to the car, get the plimsolls and come back. So after a little while, you know, I said to my middle son, oh, this is just so embarrassing, you know. I feel kind of mortified sitting here. So shall we try and, you know, I'll take both my shoes off and we will just walk, and I'll just walk with bare feet for a bit. So as we're at least a little bit closer for when he comes back with my plimsolls. So that's what we did. And yeah, we kind of walked through there. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, honestly, you would have thought that I was kind of doing something really, really strange, because the amounts of people were like giving me these really funny looks, like actually walking past, looking back at me, and very, very strange. But the funniest thing, so this was the point I was trying to get to, waffling on. The funniest thing was, I said to my son, oh, this is so embarrassing. You know, I don't see anybody else ever at these types of things, you know, with like broken shoes, you know, like, oh, I'm just sat here. Everyone else is just walking elegantly in their shoes. I'm just sat here now with my broken shoes, you know, laughing and, you know, just kind of laughing out of embarrassment, really. Anyway, they had these stools and things there. And also, actually, sorry, I had said that they had a car boot sale. Now, on Friday, they did not have a car boot sale, so that was my mistake. I didn't realise. They did have a car boot sale yesterday. However, when we went across to the car boot sale was when it was raining. So unfortunately, I didn't get to film the car boot sale part at all. If I do put the film up, you didn't really miss anything. We didn't buy anything at the car boot sale or anything like that, because actually, you know, it was mainly clothes, and it wasn't that big. The car boot sale part was not that big. But I just wanted to quickly say that, because I know that a few people had said, oh, we'd love to see it. So just so as you know, it actually, you know, it wasn't much for car boot sale anyway. But, yeah, so we walked back across to where these kind of stalls and, you know, yeah, like kind of vintage shop stall type places were. And I went in once. I was looking, obviously, in these clothes ones, you know, looking for some shoes to wear, just in case my plimsolls were still going to be too painful to wear. And I was, you know, rummaging around on the floor kind of under this table, because all the shoes, you know, it was a bit like a jumble sale by this point, because obviously they'd been really busy all day, so everything had got knocked off the table, and, you know, so I'm there rummaging around. And suddenly this lady said, hello, Tina. I thought, who's that? I looked up and it was my friend from school, who I know I talk about, you know, sometimes, to my friend who came round for the hot tub a few weeks ago. And it was her. And I said, oh, hi, you know. And I laughed and said what I was doing. Well, guess what? She said, so am I. She said, I'm in here doing the same thing. She said, I've come in because my shoes have broken. And there she was, holding her shoes, just like I was holding mine. I mean, her shoes were walkable at least. So she'd taken them off, obviously, in the shop, but she wasn't actually having to wear them. You know, she could kind of walk in them a little bit, if you see what I mean. But I couldn't believe it. I laughed so much when she said that. I just said, well, what's the odds of that? That both of us, you know, we've bumped into one another in here, both of us looking for shoes. And I told her what I'd just that second been saying to my son about, oh, would you believe it? You know, I'm not seeing anyone else around here walking around with their shoes broken, you know. I said, and look, here you are with your broken shoes. Oh, we did laugh. I just thought, what were the odds of that? So, yeah, it was very, very funny. Anyway, I didn't find any shoes. I found one pair of shoes that were, you know, really pretty and fitted. You know, they didn't obviously have a great selection, but I wasn't at this point very fussed. I just thought I would go for anything. They were not very cheap, I have to say. So it would have kind of, you know, upset me to actually buy them. But I just thought, well, what can you do? You know, if you've got no shoes, you've got no shoes. So beggars can't be choosers. But the lady couldn't find the other one. So hence a bit of the rummaging around on the floor, you know, just in case then they'd, you know, one had dropped kind of under the table or anything. Anyway, we never did find it. We looked around and looked around, never did find the matching shoe. So yeah, I didn't bother buying any shoes, and thank goodness I'd taken the plasters, because I was a bit worried I wouldn't then have them when I looked in my bag. I thought, oh gosh, I hope I did pack them in the end. Anyway, luckily my plasters were in my bag, so yeah, I was able to put my plasters on and wear my plimp soles. My friend, she did get a pair of vintage shoes. She managed to find a pair, but oh, it just made me laugh. I just thought, well, what were the odds of that, to be honest? It was just so funny. Right, so this is my finished envelope. So if I just pull in, I don't think I've got a journal at the moment on the go. So I'm just going to pull this here to just show you how it would look. So I would glue this whole flap down like this. And then you've got this opening here. You've got the envelope, obviously. And then you've got these pages. And then here, what I tend to do is then glue, like maybe say a journal card or something over this, so it covers up obviously the, you know, the string and the flap. And I would glue this again on 3 sides, so then you've got a pocket here, you've got your little booklet, you've got your envelope, and then you tie it closed. Again, just a little tip, if I'm gluing this into a journal, I tend to glue the foldy side, you know, this side, to the foldy side, if you see what I mean. So, I mean, I just think that works better, but of course, you know, you must do what works best for you. But what I'm saying is I wouldn't try and do it, you know, like when you've got a journal and then you've got the curvy type pages, I wouldn't put it that side round. I would put it on the very flat, i.e. that side round. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, I hope that you like these. I hope you have fun if you decide to make them. Hope you had fun listening to my awful nightmare story about my shoes. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and keep your eyes peeled. I will hopefully be doing my giveaway you know, entrance video at some point this week. And yeah, I want to just say thank you so much to everyone for watching. Thank you so much to everyone who's really kindly bought me a coffee and things lately. That's so nice of you. And yeah, I really appreciate all your support and everything. And have a really great week, everyone. Thank you so much then. Bye.